Okay, grade 5 in 5 minutes, AQA English Language Paper 1, question 3. This is the dreaded structure question that a lot of people really get stressed about because they're not really sure how to answer the question. Hopefully the purpose of this video is to go through step by step how to tackle it and achieve a grade 5 in just 5 minutes. So if you haven't got the resources, make sure you've got those in front of you because there will be tasks to do as you go along. The best way to use the video is to have the resources in front of you and work through them as we go. You can download them from mrcrawfordenglish.com/revision or click the link below. So question 3 then, we're going to have 10 minutes on it because it's another 8-mark question. There's no point spending more than 10 minutes on this because there are other questions later on in the exam that are going to need more time. We're going to talk about 2 or 3 structural features really well and spend the first couple of minutes just planning that response and making ourselves feel a little bit more comfortable about answering it. Hopefully, if you've seen the paper 1 top tips and the sneak peek video, hopefully you'll have already had a sneak peek at the question before reading the text. So hopefully on your first or second reading, you'll have already identified some structural features. In other words, what happens at the beginning, the middle and the end, so that you can use those to help answer the question when you get to it. The first thing to do then, in terms of steps, is number 1, identify the point of the text that the extract is taken from. In this case, it's from the beginning of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. The second thing is to stick to the bullet points. We can really overcomplicate this question by coming up with some really fancy structural techniques. We really don't need to do that. We can stick to the bullet points. Number 1 says what the writer focuses our attention on at the beginning. Bullet point number 2, how the focus changes. And bullet point number 3 is about any other structural feature. For me, that should just be the end. Let's keep it simple and do beginning, middle and end. So the first thing to do is to find those 3 things. You might want to pause now, have a read through the extract again, and identify what is being focused on at the beginning, the middle and the end, and maybe make some sort of annotation as to why you think the writer is making those focuses at those certain points of the text. Assuming then that we've done that, hopefully you've got something similar to me. I've identified that at the beginning of this extract, the writer is focusing on the Dursley family and how Dudley is loved more than Harry. Harry's presented as being this isolated, separate character and very much not part of the family. I've made a little note there that perhaps here the writer is positioning us to like Harry and dislike the family. At the middle of the extract, the writer focuses on Harry and the cruel treatment that he receives from his aunt when she's getting him out of bed in the morning. And I've put there, perhaps the writer is doing that so that we take Harry's side, so that we become defensive over Harry, so that we become almost protective, almost like a parent of him at this point in the extract. And at the end of the extract, the writer interestingly returns to a focus on Dudley and again how loved and spoiled he is. Perhaps this has been done deliberately by the writer to reinforce to us the difference in their characters and how they're very much contrasting characters and how Dudley is spoiled and loved a lot more. Those should help us to form our paragraph, which again should be a what, how, why. We're aiming for 2 or 3 what, how, why paragraphs. We've only got 10 minutes though, so we might not even get to that 3rd bullet point. It's up to you how you spend that time. Let's have a look at how that might look. So what? The writer has structured the text to interest me as a reader by initially focusing on a description of Dudley and specifically how loved he is compared to Harry. Notice how I've literally just taken my initial note and turned that into an answer to the question, and I've completely focused my answer on what the question was asking me. I've focused it on bullet point number 1. I've also then in my house section embedded my evidence again. So Harry observes that the photos in the house show Dudley playing a computer game with his father being hugged and kissed by his mother, and that the room held no sign at all that another boy lived in the house too. I've embedded the evidence. I've not introduced my quotation, a quote to support this is. I've literally kept it really straightforward and embedded that to show the examiner that I'm competent in my writing and know how to structure an analytical paragraph. The why then is the more detailed explanation of the effect. By focusing our attention on how loved and spoiled Dudley is, the writer positions us to take an instant dislike to Dudley and his family. The writer also makes us feel sympathy for Harry as he clearly receives no love or attention. We're immediately on Harry's side and begin backing Harry, hoping that he, the underdog, will emerge triumphant. Notice again how I've used some subject terminology like focuses and shifts and positions. Those are good structural words to use. I've explained the effect because I've talked about how it makes me feel sorry for him. I've talked about how it makes us feel like we're on his side and that we take a dislike to Dudley and the aunt and uncle. And I've also avoided the word shows so that we can sound a little bit more professional and a little bit less grade 4 and a lot more grade 5. So what I would do now then is pause and have a go at writing the middle paragraph or the end paragraph. I've started that off for you. Notice at the bottom. Later in the extract, the focus shifts to Harry, who is alone in his bedroom. If you take that as your sentence starter, you can then write the paragraph for the middle, how the writer changes the focus in the extract, and you can have a go at writing the end paragraph as well. Remembering, of course, that it's a 10-minute task. You can send me any examples that you do to info@mrcrawford.co.uk. I'll happily have a look at those for you and get you some feedback. So give it a go, download the resources. There are some extra papers available as well for you to have a go at. Keep it simple, follow the bullet points, you'll be amazing. Laters.